assumed office in Abuja following the retirement of his predecessor, Mrs. Oluwatoyin Madeyin. He urged staff of the Treasury to always commit themselves to what they can always do better to place the Treasury office on the pedestal of efficiency and accountability. The Accountant General assured the staff that his tenure would run an open-door policy to accommodate all and make objectivity the lead way of his decisions. Members of staff of the Treasury office applauded him and described his assumption to the office as a homecoming.
The presidency has reacted to the remarks made by the president of the Catholic Bishops' Conference of Nigeria, Archbishop Lucius Iwejuru, demanding urgent action from leaders to save the country from drifting. At its first plenary meeting of 2025 in Abuja, Archbishop Iwejuru listed youth unemployment, insecurity, poverty, corruption, and electoral fraud as some of the ills plaguing the country and demanded leaders to quickly address them. In its reaction, the presidency described the remark as an alarming projection of the state of the economy and the polity and argued that President Tinubu was in the right direction. Referencing the Archbishop's remarks, it said, President Tinubu appreciates the constant interventions of Catholic bishops in matters of governance in the country, noting its patriotic favor and commitment to national unity, peace, stability, which are valued and respected by the government. It noted that, however, while some of the government's challenges in the areas highlighted by the bishops remains important to the states of the country, it had made tremendous progress in all areas since President Tinubu assumed office about 22 months ago. It said that as a result of improved security, especially in the northwest and northeast, farmers have returned to their farms and that the country was okay.
The ECOWAS Commission, ECOWAS, and the African Development Bank, AFDB, have signed a $12 million grant agreement to implement the Rice Resilient Value Chains Development Project Reward in West Africa. ECOWAS Commission President Dr. Ali Toure signed the agreement on behalf of the Commission, while AFDB's Director General for Nigeria, Dr. Abdul Kamara, signed on behalf of the bank's President, Dr. Kinwumi Adesina. During the signing in Abuja, Dr. Toure expressed gratitude to the bank for the grant and reaffirmed its commitment to swift project implementation. Dr. Kamara reiterated the bank's dedication to supporting ECOWAS in enhancing food security and resilience in line with Vision 2020. The reward project aims to enhance public and private investments in rice value chains, leveraging successful business models. It is part of a broader regional rice development initiative financed by the AFDB across 15 West African countries.
The Arewa Youth Assembly for Good Leadership wants the President of the Senate, Senator Godswill Akpabio, to evaluate his leadership style to accommodate more northern representation in the Red Chamber. At a news briefing in Abuja, the Speaker of the organization, Abdul Dambature, called on Senator Akpabio to place priority on the interests of the people and ensure all perceived marginalization were removed. On the case of alleged sexual harassment by Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan, Comrade Dambature called on the leadership of the Senate to ensure the protection of rights of members of the National Assembly as enshrined in the Constitution. He urged the leadership of the Senate to review the suspension of Senator Akpoti-Uduaghan to remove any doubt in the minds of Nigerians on the credibility and accountability of the Senate.
The Minister of Works, Senator David Umahi, says the ongoing rehabilitation and reconstruction of the Aba axis of Enugu-Port Harcourt dual carriageway will be inaugurated by June this year. Senator Umahi, who stated this to Newsben shortly after inspecting the level of work on the road in Aba, expressed satisfaction with the progress of work and appreciated the contractor handling the project for the quality of work being done. The minister commended President Bola Tinubu for providing adequate funding for the road project and urged the people of the area to always support the administration of President Tinubu in all the projects being carried out in the Southeast Zone by the federal government. Senator Mahi also commended the Abia State government on its efforts to ensure that the people do not trade along the road while the rehabilitation work is ongoing.
Radio Nigeria, uplifting the people and uniting the nation.
For you.
fellow Nigerians, are you not tired of corruption holding our dear country back? Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPC, is here to stamp it out. From bribery to embezzlement, nepotism, favoritism, contract inflation to kickbacks, even sexual harassment amongst others, we're committed to fighting corruption in all its forms. And for those who embezzle our commonwealth to acquire assets, ICPC will trace and seize the assets anytime, anywhere. If you break the law will break you. As a citizen, it's your responsibility to track government projects in your constituency. With any act of corruption to us, your identity will be protected. So, no need to fear. Let's build a better and corruption-free Nigeria together. Join the ICPC in our mission for a cleaner and fairer society. Report any corruption taking place around you. Make a difference. For more information, call 0800-2255-4272. If you see corruption, expose it.
Dry season don't come again, oh. This na time to take action. Make we clean our drains, canals and waterways so our environment go remain clean for drains, people pass, or even inside gutter sef. Make we stop to dey throw dirty for road. And remember, say this no be time to dey burn bush anyhow. Together, we fit reduce global warming, reduce the wahala of climate change, and preserve our environment wella. Clean places where water suppose to pass. Make we protect our land, plus build better future for we children. Make sure say you clean and clear places where water suppose to pass before the next rainy season to reduce the wahala of flood. Climate change dey real, and we all get our part to play. Play your part, make I play my part. Now the Federal Ministry of Water Resources and Sanitation, they bring una this message.
Radio Nigeria, uplifting the people and uniting the nation.
The Enugu State High Court has committed the acting medical director of the Federal Neuropsychiatric Hospital Enugu, Dr. Ngozi Onogu, to prison over contempt proceedings and abuse of official powers. Justice Ngozi Oji, while delivering judgment, ordered that Dr. Onogu and the head of clinical services of the hospital, Dr. Vincent Ubochi, be remanded in Enugu Correctional Center until they comply with the Egumbe judgment of 2021. Justice Egumbe had in 2021 issued a perpetual injunction restraining them from questioning the qualifications of the acting principal of the School of Basic Psychiatric Nursing of the hospital, Dr. Afamundu, which they alleged were not genuine. The court also awarded a fine of 2.5 million naira against the respondent over libel and defamation of the acting CMD, Dr. Onogu, which was submitted to the Federal Ministry of Health. Reacting to the judgment, Dr. Afamundu said he had suffered the process which led to his partial dismissal from work without salary for over 18 months for committing no offense. He appealed to the judgment that the judgment be implemented to the letter, but not limited to the statement or as the acting principal of the basic psychiatric nursing of the hospital.
Over 53,000 out of 80,000 inmates across the correctional facilities in the country are awaiting trial. The situation was mainly caused by delayed investigation, lack of access to legal representation, restrictive bail conditions, and frequent adjournments. The managing partner, Firm Advisory Access to Justice Initiative, Mrs. Chineye Wanakat, announced this at a roundtable in Abuja. Obunleme Okeji reports that the event organized in collaboration with the National Human Rights Commission is to forge stronger partnerships in enhancing access to justice across Nigeria.
The National Roundtable brought together stakeholders to share knowledge and find collaborative solutions on accessing justice for national development. Ms. Chineye Uwanaka, who attributed economic challenges as a major hindrance to accessing justice, charged legal professionals to do more of humanitarian service.
As lawyers, we have to step up. We have to take on more human rights cases. We have to ensure that we have more public interest litigation. If we do not, who will do it?
One of the panelists and judge of the African Courts on Human and People's Rights, Stella Anukam, pointed out that the impact of prolonged pre-trial detention on human rights and justice delivery could be addressed by introducing more electronic case hearings in courts.
Encourage electronic recording and technology-driven case management. This will reduce human errors, speed up trial, and ensure the accurate documentation of proceedings.
Another panelist, Henry Eniolu, said lack of funding, information, and people's knowledge of their human rights had contributed to overcrowding of correctional centers.
We have a lot of individuals who are quite ignorant on the positions of the law and its application, hence do not know their rights.
A former Attorney General of Delta State, Isaiah Buzimo, who stated that over 80% detainees await trials, observed that the reason for this cuts across different sectors and needed urgent attention. The Executive Secretary, National Human Rights Commission, Dr. Tony Ojukwu, represented by the Director, Economic, Social and Cultural Rights Department, Harry Obuche Ube, emphasized the need for more collaboration to identify different strategies to address access to justice in Nigeria.
We recognize that this cannot be achieved by any organization or any agency alone. Rather, it requires the collaborative effort of all stakeholders.
The event was attended by human rights organizations, civil society organizations, representative of the Nigerian Bar Association, and law students from different universities who showcased placards with inscriptions such as "Let's give inmates a second chance" and "Justice delayed is justice denied." In Abuja, Obumneme Okeje, Radio Nigeria.
Talking politics now, the All Progressives Congress APC in Rivers State has called for the resignation of the Rivers State Governor, Siminalayi Fubara, of face impeachment. At a news briefing in Port Harcourt, the chairman of the party in the state, Chief Tony Okocha, insisted that the governor had committed several impeachable offences as outlined in the Supreme Court's judgment. Reacting to the governor's invitation on the 27 lawmakers for a meeting, the chairman said the invitation was uncalled for.
Assembly is doing their own business by inviting certain personnel, government in quotes, who they are grouses to pick. And you ask them to leave their sitting, to come to government house, that they will come so that they will sit down together and agree on where assembly will be sitting. Isn't that an absurd?
Chief Okocha, who described the invitation as a Greek gift, said the governor had disrespected President Bola Tinubu after his invitation when the crisis started in 2023 and even abused court judgments with impunity. On the Supreme Court's judgment recently that sacked the local government area chairman in the state, Chief Okocha said the APC in the state had earlier approached the court, faulting the process of the exercise.
The whole issue is the legitimacy of the assembly. And the law, well, what the Supreme Court did, validating the assembly, means, of course, that everything the assembly did were in tandem with the law, including the issue of local governments.
Chief Okocha insisted that the Supreme Court's judgment was sacrosanct and cannot be discussed.
Still on Rivers, another staff of the State Independent Electoral Commission, RCEC, Mrs. Ibirembo Thompson, has resigned her appointment as a commissioner. This brings the number of RCEC commissioners who had resigned since Friday to 3. Addressing journalists in Port Harcourt after their visit to inform the House of their resignation, Professor Simeon Welly, who was in charge of political parties and monitoring, faulted the schedule for another local government election in the state.
The Supreme Court had not qualified the October 5th, 2024 election. I don't think there is reason to hastily come up with another date for a fresh election without complying with the basic directive of the Supreme Court.
Also, Dr. Lasbury Nna, who was in charge of budget research and statistics, cited unfolding events in the commission as reasons for his resignation.
I felt because of the nature of things and the recent Supreme Court judgment, there is no need for me to deceive myself while I remain in the House. The election that was conducted last was annulled by the Supreme Court of Nigeria, so I cannot be there again to keep deceiving myself. So I have to exit my being a member of RIFSEC.
The former RCEC employee said it was a hasty decision for another election following the recent judgment of the Supreme Court, which nullified last year's local government elections conducted by the Commission.
Moving to Ebonyi State, some politicians and leaders of the thoughts have floated a group to support the administration of Governor Francis Nwifuru to deliver more dividends of democracy to the people. At the unveiling of the group, known as Francis Frontiers in Abakaliki, the founder and national chairman, Mr. Chris Usulo, said the move was to promote good governance and social justice in the state.
We are supporting the good works of the governor, the dividends of democracy, and we are preaching it around the globe. So many of the projects that are underreported, we are trying to bring it up so that the entire public will know what the governor is doing. We had already lined up our blueprint on what to do, and we are poised to achieve it without asking the government to support us.
Mr. Osulo, a three-term former legislator, commended the Ebonyi State government for what he described as multi-sectoral development taking place in the state, which he attributed to the People's Charter of Needs being implemented. He advocated the training of professionals and innovators to propel Ebonyi to greater heights. An investor, Dr. Daliti Ngota, commended the group for promoting good governance and social justice and pledged his support for the progress of the Ebonyi people.
With the nature of persons that are in this group, we are very much optimistic that with the visions that have been listed, we'll be able to drive home that purpose. It is only a bad person that does not support a good thing. Since the primary interest is for our state to enjoy good leadership, let's support him.
The occasion brought together leaders of thought and progressives from all facets of Ebonyi State.
President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has reaffirmed his administration's commitment to Nigerian youths, describing them as the nation's greatest asset. At the inauguration of the Planning Committee for the National Youth Conference at the State House, Abuja, President Tinubu emphasized that government policies and decisions revolve around young people who make up over 60% of the population. Bello Wakili reports.
President Bola Tinubu has urged Nigerian youths to take their future seriously, actively participate in nation building, and to leverage technology for progress. He acknowledged economic challenges but expressed optimism, saying ongoing reforms are restoring investor confidence and driving technological advancement. Tinubu encouraged open dialogue, urging young Nigerians to express their concerns and contribute ideas for national progress. He officially inaugurated the committee, urging its members to inspire and engage young Nigerians in shaping the nation's future.
My is to assure you that we do everything possible to make Nigeria a better place for you. But we can't do it alone. You represent over 60% of our population. You are the heartbeat of our nation, and I hope you take this opportunity very seriously. I am with you.
Samson Itodo, who spoke on behalf of the members of the committee, praised President Bola Tinubu for initiating the National Youth Conference, highlighting the government's commitment to youth development through key appointments.
By the diversity of people on the planning committee, it is very clear that the intention is a comfort for all Nigerians, irrespective of their geographical or political extraction.
Itodo emphasized the need for adequate funding, streamlined processes, and non-partisan engagement to ensure the conference success. He also stressed inclusive participation through virtual consultations and town halls, expressing confidence that the administration would implement the conference recommendation for the benefit of Nigerian youths. From the presidential villa, Bello Wakili, Radio Nigeria.
Also, President Bola Tinubu has called on political leaders in the country to channel more resources and policies towards catering for the needs of the poor and vulnerable. The president stated this in Abuja while hosting governors, members of the Federal Executive Council, service chiefs, and some selected heads of ministries, departments, and agencies to break the Ramadan fast at the State House. President Tinubu noted that political leaders' efforts are crucial in meeting citizens' expectations, commended the people-oriented policies that have started yielding positive results in improved human development indices and economic indicators. The president urged political leaders to consider themselves as navigators that would bring the country to the promised land while regarding the entire country as one big family in a house where people live in different rooms. Governor of Kwara State and chairman of the Nigeria Governors Forum, Alhaji Abdurrahman Abdulrazak, had thanked the president for the bold and decisive reforms in the Nigerian economy. Governor Hyacinth Alia of Benue State, who led the Christian prayers, observed the convergence of the Muslim and Christian fasting periods, that it was not a coincidence.
Let's move on to Sokoto State, where the government has expressed readiness to collaborate with corporate bodies and organizations to establish skills acquisition centers to empower youths and women. The Director of Child Development and Protection, Sokoto State Ministry of Women and Children Affairs, Malam Yusuf Ibrahim, made the pledge during a media dialogue to address the challenges of the Almajiri children and out-of-school adolescent girls in the state. Sarah Gimba tells us more.
The menace of almajiri and out-of-school children in Nigeria has been a major concern to the government. To address this challenge, UNICEF, in collaboration with the Eleva Foundation, established 3 space centers in Sokoto State to empower the almajiri and out-of-school adolescents, especially girls. Since its establishment, over 16,000 of these vulnerable groups have received integrated case management services and individualized care plans. The Director, Child Development and Protection, Sokoto State Ministry of Women and Children Affairs, Malam Yusuf Ibrahim, said the government would partner organization with such initiatives to reduce the number of almajiri and out-of-school children in the state. Malam Yusuf, who commended UNICEF for its role in ensuring these vulnerable groups had a sense of belonging, called for the recruitment of more teachers and health workers to sustain the program.
It's something that we can sustain but we need the commitments of our leadership. We're in the area of children participation, children protection, adolescent girls, every partner that is ready to come to Sokoto.
The UNICEF Chief of Field Office Sokoto, Mr. Michael Juma, highlighted some of the challenges to include data collection on almajiri and out-of-school children. Mr. Juma said, despite the challenges, they were able to make progress in tracking implementation across the local governments.
We also had a very strong team that navigated throughout in the different LGAs to come up with a figure which currently we are using for programming purposes.
The district head in Sokoto South local government area, Alhaji Mohammed Jabi, expressed gratitude to UNICEF and Eleva Foundation and called for the continued support of the state government for the project.
The center was designed at a time when digital literacy. A lot of gaps have been identified that necessitate movement of almajiri.
The media dialogue was organized by the Child Rights Information Bureau, CRIP of the Federal Ministry of Information and National Orientation in collaboration with the United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF. Sarah Gimba, Radio Nigeria.
Moving to Jos, the agroclimatic resilience of semi-arid landscape AgriSal project in that state, that's Plateau State, says it has made provision to map out flood-prone areas in the state, especially as the rainy season approaches. The state project coordinator, Mr. Godwin Goko, said this at a briefing in Jos. Josiah Bozon reports.
Flood has been a major challenge in some states of the Federation, Plateau State inclusive. As the rainy season approaches, the fear of the unknown has started creeping in, following past experiences where people have lost their properties, including lands, through degradation and environmental challenges. The Plateau State coordinator of the Agroclimatic Resilience in Semi-Arid Landscapes Project, AgriSal, Mr. Garba Gowon, said they always ensure an annual work and procurement plan.
We have earmarked over 190 million for just Buku metropolis alone. But for the mapping, we have made an arrangement to engage a firm that will go to the hinterland to other local government to carry out that consultancy assignment, which may not be too far from $250,000 US.
Mr. Gowon Kokol said they needed to find out accurate data to enable them carry out their function effectively. The state coordinator said they have commenced the rehabilitation of the gullies in part of the metropolis.
That gully alone is about 20 kilometers. By the time this gully is rehabilitated, people will heave a sigh of relief because so many properties have been affected and then so many lives have been lost through that gullies.
Mr. Gowon Kokol said the fencing of the 18.5 kilometer Jos Wildlife Park will soon be completed.
That place has become devastated. Devastated in the sense that the place has been bastardized by intruders, poachers, and a lot of so many illegal activities that were going on there. We made a passionate appeal to the World Bank, and the World Bank graciously granted.
He noted that previously the state government had no policy document on environmental and climate change, which has been addressed by the present administration. He applauded the present administration of Plateau State for settling its bad luck of unsettled counterpart funding. And has continued to contribute to the success of the project, which is a collaboration with the World Bank. From Jos, Josiah Buzun, Radio Nigeria.
It's 25 minutes past 7. You're listening to the news on the network service of Radio Nigeria. We'd like to thank you for staying tuned. The headlines this morning: court commits medical director to prison over abuse of office in Enugu. Over 53,000 inmates across correctional centers awaiting trial. Still to come, our correspondent will take a look at state of schools in the southwest. And the Yobe State government approves employment of over 200 health technicians. Remember, sports, commentary, cyber school, newspaper headlines, and weather report are also part of the news. Stay tuned.
Radio Nigeria, uplifting the people and uniting the nation.
We health, now we end the day. All of us get work to do on top am. Time don't reach make we for sabi, can't take care from the beginning. Shey you sabi say HIV, AIDS, syphilis, and hepatitis now something we fit to dodge from, treat, and even no be death sentence again sef. Knowledge na power. You fit to live correct better life wey go make sense, treat, and get help when you need them. They fit to manage HIV with treatment, syphilis own na antibiotics, and for hepatitis na vaccine we go take knack am to fit escape from am. Regular testing na key for all of us to fit dey safe. Together we go fit stop the spread of HIV, AIDS, syphilis, and hepatitis. Always dey go for testing to sabi your status and stay safe. Prevention, treatment na your hand e dey. Prevention na key. Together we go fit end this pain. Follow your doctor relate. Run your test today. HIV, AIDS no be death sentence o. Enter we public health center wey near you pass today. This message na from the First Lady of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, CON.
Radio Nigeria, uplifting the people and uniting the nation.
Thanks for staying tuned. President Bola Tinubu has approved the renaming of Federal University of Education, Kano, to Yusuf Maitama Sule Federal University of Education. A statement by the Special Advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, Mr. Bayo Nanuga, notes that Alhaji Sule had contributed significantly to Nigeria's geopolitical developments throughout his illustrious career. It says President Tinubu believes that immortalizing Ambassador Sule's legacy will inspire younger generations to uphold integrity, patriotism, character, and nationalism. The Federal University, that's the Federal University of Education, Kano, initially owned by the state government, is one of 7 specialized universities of education under the federal government. The statement notes that as a Federal University of Education, it will continue to play a pivotal role in training teachers and strengthening the education sector. He served as Nigeria's permanent representative to the United Nations in New York, where he was chairman of the UN Special Committee on Apartheid.
Still on education, but this time we're going to Kano State. Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf says his administration has taken a significant step toward ensuring the safety of schools, with stakeholders gathering for a forum on strengthening security resilience and integrating host communities in the protection of education. Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf announced this during the opening ceremony of the Stakeholders Forum on the Security of Schools in Kano State and the training of the Schools Protection Squad. Our guide is Abdullahi Jalaluddin.
Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf, represented by the Commissioner for Education, Alhaji Haruna Makoda, reassured stakeholders of his administration's commitment to developing the educational sector in the state. He said, as Nigeria continues to face challenges in ensuring school safety, this forum marks a crucial step towards strengthening security resilience and promoting a safer learning environment.
We are working tirelessly to upgrade our schools and to provide them with the resources they need to succeed, from classrooms to libraries, laboratories to toilets.
The national coordinator of the Schools Prevention Squad, Commissioner of Police Abayomi Shogule, emphasized the importance of security, stating that it is paramount to the current administration. He noted that the School Security Protection Squad was initiated by the Inspector General of Police with a view to address security challenges in primary, secondary, and tertiary institutions. Vice Chancellor of Aliko Dangote University, Professor Musa Kuriakase, commended the training as apt and geared toward enhancing adequate security in institutions. Inspector General of Police Kayode Ebetikun, represented by AIG Zone 1 Ahmad Amani, emphasized the importance of collaboration between the public and security agencies to address insecurity in schools and institutions. The forum themed Strengthening Security Resilience and Integration of Host Communities in the Protection of Education brought together representatives from the Nigerian Police, Nigerian Army, and educational institutions, among others. In Kano, Abdullahi Jalaluddin, Radio Nigeria.
As part of Radio Nigeria's special focus on the education sector, we're now examining the state of schools in the southwest. Let's begin with Ogun State, where residents have called on the government to sustain its efforts towards the provision of conducive learning environment for pupils in primary schools across the state. Bolani Adishino is our guide.
From the inception of his administration, Ogun State Governor Prince Dapo Abiodun embarked on a massive renovation project targeting primary schools across the state. More than 360 public primary schools were renovated in the first batch of the project, and this had improved the learning and teaching environment in primary schools across the state. The project had improved access to modern classrooms, toilets, water and electricity. Despite the progress made in the renovation project, few public primary schools in the state, especially those in rural areas, were still in deplorable conditions and lacked basic amenities, posing a significant threat to the health and education of pupils. During a visit to Obafemi Owode Local Government Primary School in Akindele and St. James's Primary School, Ototo, the schools had many dilapidated structures which could endanger the lives of pupils and make it difficult for them to focus on their studies. Some residents, including Mrs. Rukayat Olatoye and Mrs. Falashade Adeoye, explained that renovation of public primary schools in rural areas will improve access to quality education in rural communities.
The government has tried in the urban area, but we want government to do more in the rural area.
We want government to renovate the school for a safe environment, provide access to clean water. Government should increase the number of classes.
An educationist, Mrs. Oluwaseun Oyenuga, stressed the need for government to conduct a needs assessment to identify the most critical needs of rural schools.
This assessment will help identify the most critical needs such as infrastructure, teacher training, or educational resources. The government can allocate resources effectively, prioritize projects, and ensure that interventions are tailored to address the specific challenges faced by rural schools.
Special advisor to Ogun State Governor on Education, Mrs. Ronke Shoyombo, said arrangements have been concluded for the commencement of another batch of renovation.
We're going to be renovating the remaining schools very soon. Done a batch, and there's another batch coming up as well for renovation. All those schools, they will not be forgotten at all.
Mrs. Shoyombo said the state government was committed to ensuring that all peoples in the state, especially those in rural areas, have access to quality education regardless of their background or circumstances. In Abeokuta, Bolanle Adeshida, Radio Nigeria.
The story is not different in Oyo State. The report there says some basic schools there are in a deplorable state, begging for attention. Blessing Okare has details.
Some of the schools visited in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital, include Ibadan Municipal Grammar Schools, IMG Basic School 1 and 2, and IMG Basic Special Sharp Corner Okeado, IMG Primary School 1 Oniyorin, Ibadan, and IMG Schools 1 to 3 Mokola, all in Ibadan Metropolis. When Radio Nigeria visited IMG Schools 1 and 2, which appeared deserted, just a few pupils were seen within the 3 habitable classroom blocks. Also observed were a block of 4 classrooms without doors and windows, overgrown with grasses, while some of the classes looked like waste disposal rooms with tattered asbestos ceiling and partially blown off roofs, as well as human feces littering the classes. Head of School 2, Mrs. Sadiat Adiola, explained that the school used to have more than 30 pupils in the past, but most parents withdrew their children out of fear, which she attributed to violent clashes between IMG boys and neighboring comprehensive high school boys. An assistant headmaster, Mr. Tunji Adegunle, said the school buildings were vandalized by scavengers and hoodlums.
Newly constructed building, they vandalized, removed all the borders, the borehole, everything, the computer, people to them from Abuja till they stop collecting money from the pupils to pay the security guards.
The headmistress of the special school, Mrs. Ruth Aremu, said the school authority had written letters to be dispatched to the office of the Commissioner of Education, seeking support to rehabilitate and restore all vandalized structures. The situation was not different at the other IMG schools visited. Some of the classroom blocks were dilapidated, broken desks were seen in the classes, while some others had no desks. A professor of human kinetics at the University of Ibadan, Olufadoju, decried the deplorable state of public schools in Oyo State.
Government should be ready to only establish schools that they can maintain. So in terms of our public primary and secondary schools, it's a star story because these children also live side by side with children from private schools. And the government should at least upgrade their own and maintain it.
A reliable source at the State Universal Basic Education Board, Ibadan Southwest, who pleaded anonymity, said the state government had employed security guards for secondary schools in the state and expressed hope that same would be done for the primary schools. In a recent interview, Special Advisor to Oyo State Governor on Education Intervention, Mr. Suraj Tiamiyu, confirmed that 105 primary schools were renovated last year out of the 190 basic schools targeted by the state government for renovation in the rural areas. In Ibadan, Blessing Okare.
Moving to Osun State now, it seems not to be different as stakeholders who spoke with Radio Nigeria say poor infrastructure is a major challenge facing public schools in that state. Mojisola Oladili has more.
Findings by Radio Nigeria, who visited some public primary schools in Oshogbo, Ilesha and Ikirun, revealed that few of them had dilapidated structures. The schools visited include Okanla Baptist Elementary School, Oke Afo Oshogbo, St. Andrews Primary School, Okebale Oshogbo, LA Primary School A, Okebale Oshogbo, Nawarudin Primary School Igbaye, Ilesha, and Methodist Primary School 1 in Ikirun. Two parents, Mr. Michael Chuku and Mr. Ismail Adebayo, frowned at the dilapidated structures in public schools. They explained that with the rainy season approaching, dilapidated classrooms would not be suitable for learning.
Ensuring that all these our children are learning in a very good environment.
More difficult this time around for our pupils to sit down where there is no window, no door, and roof as well.
The DOWU explained that pupils would have good academic performance where the learning atmosphere is conducive, emphasized the need for concerned authorities to rehabilitate structures within public schools across the state. The headmistress of Nawarudin Primary School by Ilesha, Mrs. Bosede Ogunlade, appealed to the state government to come to the aid of the school. Mrs. Ogunlade also called on the government to erect perimeter fence around the school to protect it from hoodlums.
Government to assist us rebuild a suitable fence.
The headmistress noted that hoodlums have turned the premises of the school to a dump site where they defecate and throw refuse. The State Commissioner for Education, Mr. Dipo Eluwole, noted that the state government regularly provides its counterparts funding to the State Universal Basic Education Board, SUBEB, which is majorly saddled with responsibility of ensuring proper learning atmosphere for pupils in primary schools across the state.
The state government will have to pay counterpart fund of 1 billion, equivalent, that is 50-50. The real amount of money that federal government will release to the bank is what the state will contribute before the money can be released to the state, which means when they are releasing the money now will be 2 billion to the state. So it is that money now that will map out the action plan.
Mr. Eluwole explained that most of the school buildings were constructed by the State Universal Basic Education Board, SUBEB, in collaboration with the State Ministry of Works to ensure standards were not compromised. In Ilesha, Osun State, Mojisola Oladele, Radio Nigeria.
Well, let's hope that the appropriate authorities will take a look at it. From education, we turn our attention to health. The governor of Yobe State, Mai Mala Buni, has approved the employment of over 200 health technicians to boost manpower requirements in the health facilities in the state. A statement by the Director General of the Press and Media Affairs, Maman Mohammed, says the employment covers 140 Buni scholars who recently graduated in various fields of medical sciences in India. Similarly, Governor Buni has approved the employment of 127 health technicians currently serving as volunteers in health institutions across the state. The governor directed the employment of the medical technicians who graduated but were not formally employed but had been serving as volunteers in the medical centers. The government also upgraded the 4 general hospitals in Gashua, Potiskum, Gaidam and Buniyadi to specialist hospitals and 8 primary health centers to general hospitals, while the state teaching hospital was equipped with state-of-the-art equipment to make healthcare delivery accessible and affordable across the state.
The Minister of State for Health and Social Welfare, Dr. Ishaq Salako, has revealed that over 16% of blindness in Nigeria are caused by glaucoma. Dr. Salako, who revealed this during a ministerial briefing in Abuja to commemorate World Glaucoma Week, described it as the second leading cause of blindness in the country. On this year's theme, Uniting for a Glaucoma-Free World, See the Future Clearly, the minister reaffirmed the federal government's commitment to combating glaucoma. Dr. Salako, represented by the Director of Port Health Division in the ministry, Dr. Michael Akpan, emphasized the importance of regular eye screenings and early diagnosis and noted that glaucoma often develops without symptoms and could lead to reversible vision loss if untreated.
The National Eye Health Program has been working in partnership with local and international partners to scale up access to vision glasses in Nigeria for improving life, particularly from 40 years and above. So far, over 100,000 Nigerians have been screened, and over 80,000 solutions will be dispensed. The sustainability approach involves the setting of vision centers where spectacles are the subsidized way.
The national coordinator of the National Eye Health Program, Dr. Okolo Terry, emphasized the urgent need to early detection in preventing blindness and urged Nigerians to take eye health seriously.
The disease itself is already advanced, but what we are advocating for is for Nigerians to have a yearly exam. Present yourself at a screening venue or at the primary healthcare level system in states where people have been trained so that your eye professionals can pick up this disease at the early stage.
Other stakeholders and development partners at the event reaffirmed their commitment to fighting glaucoma and called for stronger collaborations in the health sector.
The Minister of Health, Professor Mohammed Ali Pati, wants increased collaboration toward reducing the high rate of maternal mortality in Nigeria. The minister made the call in Abeokuta at the launch of a workshop on co-creation of the Ogun State Maternal Mortality Reduction Innovation Initiative. Professor Pati said that the National Co-Creation Initiative, earlier launched by President Bola Tinubu, was aimed at removing the financial barriers and ensuring that no vulnerable woman was denied of critical care due to cost.
The federal government cannot do it alone. It depends on the collaboration that we have, how we work together closely with states, with other subnational levels, with our development partners, with civil society, with our community leaders, that we can achieve results. An Abuja created solution is not going to solve it because the issues are peculiar depending on which part of the country you are.
The minister advised the state to invest in human resources and collaborate with stakeholders to reduce maternal and newborn mortality, and stressed that the federal government had approved 25 billion naira to upgrade 8,800 health facilities across the country. Governor Dakwa Abiodun, represented by the deputy, Mrs. Noimot Salako Oyedele, called for stakeholders' commitment to the co-creation innovation, among other data-driven strategies, to drastically reduce maternal and newborn mortality in Ogun State. Commissioner for Health there, Dr. Tommy Kulka, urged healthcare providers to foster a collaborative and multifaceted approach to addressing maternal and newborn mortality in Ogun State.
And moving to sports, Super Eagles squad list, Eric Schell set to reveal final 23-man selection as Liverpool, Barcelona, Inter and Bayern Munich vie for quarter-final slots in the UEFA Champions League. Annabelle Okweri is standing by for sports news.
Good morning and welcome to Sports News. The Nigerian football community is eagerly anticipating the final 23-man Super Eagles squad ahead of their crucial clashes against Rwanda and Zimbabwe. Newly appointed head coach Eric Schell expanded his provisional squad to 39 players, introducing several fresh faces to the mix. This has further heightened anticipation as fans await his final selection for what will be his debut as head coach of the three-time AFCON champions. We understand that the Malian tactician is expected to release the squad list this week, with the team set to resume camp shortly after in preparation for the must-win encounters. The fixtures against Rwanda and Zimbabwe have been deemed crucial for the Super Eagles World Cup qualification hopes after the 2013 AFCON champions missed out in the 2022 World Cup, losing to Ghana. Now, history appears to be repeating itself as Nigeria has managed just 3 points from a possible 12, leaving them 5th in the group standings. Nigeria will travel to tackle the WAPs of Rwanda on the 21st of March in Kigali, then return home to host Zimbabwe at the Godswill Akpabio Stadium in Uyo on the 25th of March. Coach Stanley Eguma of Enyimba Football Club says his team is a work in progress after the People's Elephant recorded 2 consecutive victories in the Nigerian Premier Football League. A moment of brilliance and man of the match performance from Joseph Atule proved decisive as Enyimba edged El Kanemi Warriors 1-0 in a fierce matchday 28 fixture on Sunday evening. The weekend before, the Abba boys peeped Niger Tornadoes 1-0 away from home and are now unbeaten in 3 matches, picking 7 points out of 9 to sit in 8th position on the table.
When we came in, it was very difficult. Players' psychology was very low, morale was down. I think now the players are beginning to believe in themselves because we have to give them the direction, and that is what we needed. So them are new in the system. We have to also encourage them and let them know that they can do it. Gradually we're improving, and I think with time we'll get better.
From Stanley Eguma, we take you to basketball, where former D-Tigers head coach Scott Unaji has appealed to the Nigerian Basketball Federation NBBF to revive the moribund National League to save the career of budding basketballers in order to ensure availability of talents for the various national teams. Basketball League under engineer Musa Kida-led NBBF board has experienced so many setbacks, starting with the fight over who has the right to the top flight league before it spiraled into not having a full league season but having games played off the season at neutral surfaces before the champions are determined. Naji was speaking in Owerri at the behest of the Imo State Basketball Association to serve as resource person at a seminar organized for basketball coaches, officials and players. He said the Tigers suffered a relapse at the second window of the FIBA AfroBasket Championship qualifiers in Tunisia because the coaches went with solely home-based players who did not have time to prepare for the qualifiers. He added that the team rebounded in Libya after they went with foreign-based players who had time to prepare and were also fit because they were playing regularly for their foreign clubs. To Europe, and quarter-final places are up for grabs in the UEFA Champions League round of 16 second legs, with 3 fixtures coming up at 9 p.m. today. It is advantage Liverpool as they face Paris Saint-Germain again at Anfield. The term smash and grab victory could be coined specifically for the first leg of this heavyweight tie, a match in which Paris had 28 attempts to Liverpool's 2, yet fell to defeat thanks to some inspired and Simbeka goalkeeping and a late Harvey Elliott winner off the bench for the Reds. Can Paris finally take their chances in the second leg, or are Liverpool set for a 5th quarterfinal in the last 8 seasons? Let's hear from Liverpool manager Arne Slot.
I wasn't surprised at all about their performance, and I was really impressed by the intensity they play at, the team cohesion, the rotations in the midfield. They are such a complete team, such a well-managed team, and I think we've experienced this last Wednesday. Some people said we played poor. I don't agree, but I do think we can do better.
Giving Bayer Leverkusen's recent superiority over Bayern Munich domestically, a 3-0 defeat in the first leg at Football Arena Munchen came as something of a surprise, with the clinical Harry Kane scoring 2 to punish Xabi Alonso's side. Inter's incredible defensive solidity in this season's competition continued in the first leg as they recorded an 8th clean sheet from 9 games to win 2-0 and leave Feyenoord with it all to do in Milan. The early kickoff at 6:45 p.m. will see Barcelona host Benfica, and coach Hansi Flick has said the team will play in honor of club doctor Carles Menaro, who passed away on Saturday. And that's a wrap on sports news this morning. I am Annabelle Okweri.
Fulfilling federal government's promises to 7 core members is our commentary today, and it is written incidentally by Rashida Usman, a core member with our current affairs unit.
The National Youth Service Corps, NYSC, has been a cornerstone of the Nigeria's youth development program since its inception in 1973. The scheme was designed to promote national unity, foster social cohesion, and provide young graduates with the opportunity to contribute to the development of the country. However, in recent times, the NYSC promised that the corps members will start receiving a new monthly allowance of 77,000, which was effected in July 2024, since the present batch were in camp. However, as of March 2025, corps members are still receiving the old allowance of 33,000 naira with no official explanation from the government leading them to feel frustrated and disappointed. To be candid, the issue is not just about money, but the principle of keeping promises and treating corps members with dignity and respect. Many corps members had been looking forward to the increased allowance, which was promised by the government, and had made financial plans accordingly. The 33,000 naira allowance is barely enough to cover the basic needs of corps members, let alone provide them with a decent standard of living. The increased allowance of 77,000 naira was seen as a way of alleviating some of the financial burdens faced by the corps members, but the government's refusal to pay it has only added to their struggles. The struggles of youth corps members are not just limited to the issue of allowance. They also face challenges such as poor living conditions, inadequate facilities, and limited job opportunities after completing their service. However, many corps members complained that the skills acquisition programs offered by the government were not effective and do not provide them with the skills needed to succeed in the labor market. The NYSC also needs to work on improving its communication with corps members, providing them with regular updates and addressing their concerns in a timely manner. The scheme also needs to prioritize the welfare and well-being of corps members and provide them with decent living conditions, adequate medical care, and opportunities for personal and professional development. In addition, the NYSC needs to review and improve its policies and programs to ensure that they are effective and relevant to the needs of corps members. The NYSC also needs to work with the federal government to increase the budget allocation for the scheme and explore alternative sources of funding to ensure that corps members receive a decent allowance. It is also important that the government takes concrete steps to address the concerns of youth corps members and fulfill its promises to them, which include implementing the increased allowance, improving their living conditions, and providing them with better job opportunities. Until then, the struggles of youth corps members will continue to be a major concern in Nigeria.
That's commentary on fulfilling federal government's promises to 7 corps members is written by Rashida Usman and presented by Ofi Kuji.
All right, then let's see what Cyberscope has for us, bringing you top trends, shaping conversations across Nigeria's social media space. And we'll begin with this one. El-Rufai joins SDP. Former governor of Kaduna State, Nasir El-Rufai, has officially dumped the APC, that's the All Progressives Congress for the Social Democratic Party, that's SDP. He tweeted, "I have come to the conclusion that I must seek another political platform platform for the pursuit of the progressive values I cherish." His move has sparked heated debates online. So people are talking, but it's his decision anyway.
Davido's song lands on King Charles's playlist. Afrobeat sensation Davido just got a royal nod. His track Kante, featuring Fave, made it onto the King's Music Room, a playlist personally curated by King Charles III to mark Commonwealth Day 2025. While fans celebrate, rival camps have turned up the heat with mixed reactions. Whether you're turning it up, you're turning it down. It has been listed.
Of course.
That's right.
All right, taking this one, Mr. Macaroni claps back over Sanwo-Olu drama. Comedian Mr. Macaroni is standing his ground after criticism for not greeting Governor Sanwo-Olu. In his words, "Next time I see him, I will still not greet him. And even if he calls me, I won't answer." But social media is buzzing with takes on respect, freedom of choice, and political neutrality.
Politics is also making waves. A Rivers APC chairman, like we heard in the news, Tony Okocha, has given Governor Siminalayi Fubara a 48-hour ultimatum to resign or face impeachment. Accusations of disrespecting President Tinubu and a recent Supreme Court ruling on defected lawmakers have escalated tensions in the state. All eyes are waiting to see what happens next.
And this is still in the news. Senator Natasha's court battle continues. The legal battle between Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan and the Senate rages on after a suspension for 6 months. She's taken the fight to the Federal High Court here in Abuja, seeking to block an investigation. The next hearing is set for March 25, 2025.
That's a wrap for now. Stay connected with @Radio Nigeria and join the conversation using #Cyberscoop. Today's edition was compiled by Jennifer Ogo. Newspaper headlines is next, yes.
We'll begin with the blueprint and the bold one here. We aren't losing sleep, party stronger without you. Check it out. He has two riders. I joined SDP to provide alternative leadership. That's according to L5. Defection, ill time. That's according to Lukman. And page 8 has the rest of the story. Troops rescue 15. Is it 15 now? No, 75 hostages from Sambisa terrorist hideout. Check details out. Page 8 still has that one. Impeachment blooms as lawmakers chant for Baraf peace talk. APC gives 48-hour quit notice. House issues arrest warrant to RVCEC chair for others. Page 8 also has that one. 2025 UTME JAM registered 2,030,627 candidates. Closes enrollment. Page 13 has that one. That's the blueprints today.
Leadership ahead of 2027. PDP, Labour Party caged as opposition coalition eyes SDP. Crude for Naira. FG counters NNPC, says policy still in place. U.S. government ends 83% of U.S. aid programs, and Lassa fever death toll hits 98. Is this the season for rats? Well, let's just be careful.
Unfortunate. Let's go to weather now. That's it for newspaper headlines. Pick a copy for yourself and seal the details. All right.
Go.
For weather forecast, sunny skies with patches of clouds are expected over the northern region throughout the forecast period. In the southern region, cloudy skies with spells of sunshine are anticipated over the region during the morning hours, with prospects of localized thunderstorms over Cross River and Akwa Ibom states this afternoon and evening hours. Localized thunderstorms are anticipated over parts of Oyo, Osun, Ondo, Ogun, Ekiti, Imo, Abia, Anambra, Enugu, Edo, Delta, Bayelsa, Cross River, Akwa Ibom Rivers, and Lagos states. So you should just say all the states.
So where's the news, a recap of the major stories. The Enugu State High Court has committed the acting medical director of the Federal Neuropsychiatric Hospital, Enugu, Dr. Ngozi Unogu, to prison over contempt proceedings and abuse of official powers. Over 53,000 inmates across correctional facilities are on a waiting trial list. Our correspondents examined state of schools in the southwest, and we also told you that the Yobe State government has approved the employment of over 200 health technicians.
That's the news, edited by Hiomaike and the production team. My colleague has been
Fubara Pepple. Many thanks for listening.
And I am Harriet Adam. So stay tuned. Politics Nationwide is next.
He's loving and hardworking.
Amuludun dòṣùpá ó tàn mọ́lẹ̀ fáráyé ó dòṣùpá ó. Amuludun dòṣùpá ó ilé-iṣẹ́ rédíò tó táwọn yọ àwa làgbà lọ́jọ́ gbogbo 99.1